Right, we are to the home stretch. The last 15 problems here on the 2005 AP Microeconomics multiple choice portion of the test. And again, I'm just kind of going through the problems. I'm trying to pause briefly so you have a chance to pause your video and try and answer the questions. And then I go through kind of my train of thought. Hopefully that helps you out as you are trying to answer these questions when you take the AP test, or questions like these, I should say. Alright, number 46. An opportunity cost is entailed in which of the following situations? Well, an opportunity cost is when you have to give up something. So if a student decides to attend college full-time, they're definitely giving up something. They could have gone and had a job or something else. Anyway, and of course the opportunity cost is the next best alternative, so deciding to attend college full-time probably means you're giving a job. A family's $20,000 automobile. Yes, that sounds like you're giving up the opportunity to use that $20,000 for maybe a vacation or something else. That'd be an expensive vacation though. And number 3, a farmer decides to grow more wheat and less corn. Yeah, well, if you decide to grow wheat and you gave up corn, you definitely gave up something. I'm going to go with all of the above, 1, 2, and 3. Number 47. If the demand for good Y increases as the price of good X increases, so good X is going up in price, and yet because it's going up in price, I'm going to buy more Y. That sounds like they're substitutes. Why? Because, that was it. I shouldn't say why, because the question has Y in it. Anyway, if good X goes up in price, we buy less of it, and so instead we're going to buy more. That's like the definition of a substitute. I misread the problem. I am so sorry. This is what happens when it's late at night. I read that as the demand for good Y increases as the price of good X decreases. That would be, oh my goodness, that's complementary goods. Whew. Sorry about that one. I should probably start this video over, but I don't feel like starting this video over. So yes, that's a complementary good. If you read it as I did the wrong way the first time, that was the definition of a substitute, so I apologize there. But if, think of it as PlayStation and PlayStation games. Well, if the PlayStation goes down in price, then people demand more PlayStation games. The things bought together. Alright, sorry about that. Number 48. If the market demand for a good is inelastic and the supply is elastic, which of the following is true? Increase in tax. Alright. It's inelastic. That kind of means people will buy it for the price. And saying that the supply is elastic means that the demand is much more inelastic than the supply. So if people will pay whatever price they offer, and supply really doesn't want to change their price because it's really elastic, consumers will end up just paying most of the tax. If you wanted to see that one graphically, I would draw it like so and kind of represent inelastic demand and at least relatively elastic supply. Well, if you add a tax, you can see that most of the price of the tax gets passed right along to the buyers. In fact, the equilibrium price is going up almost by the entire amount of the tax. Number 49. If a perfectly competitive firm increases its price above the market equilibrium price, which of the following will be true for this firm? Well, that's the thing with perfectly competitive firms. If you raise your price, somebody else is going to just come in because it's free entry into the market. Anybody can join. Somebody else will come along and undercut your prices, and you won't be able to sell anything. Number 50. Leather and beef are jointly produced such that an increase in the production of one results in an equal increase in the production of the other. An increase in the demand for leather will most likely cause what? Well, think about it. You've got a cow. Some of you have asked me this question before in class. Well, this is a horrible drawing. But here's a cow. It's got legs too. Apparently it's got a hunchback. Alright, there we go. There's my cow. If you kill this cow, you get leather jackets. Leather for like leather coats. Here we go. Boom. That's a leather coat. And you also get beef. Well, that looked like a kidney there all of a sudden. There we go. There's a steak. Beautiful. Anyway, if we want more leather, we're going to kill more cows because we want more leather coats. There was an increase in the demand for leather, so we want more of them. Kill more cows. That means we get more beef. So what happened? There wasn't an increase in the demand for beef. People like beef all the same, but we've killed more cows, so we have more beef on hand. That's an increase in the supply. In order to get rid of that extra beef that we have on hand, we're probably going to lower the price of beef. B. I'm going with B, and look, I illustrated it so prettily over there. And yes, prettily is indeed a word in the English language as of tonight. Number 51. Which of the following best explains why the short-run average total cost curve is U-shaped? Boom. Looks like this. There was marginal cost. There was average total cost. Why is it U-shaped? Is it because spreading out total fixed costs over a larger output? No. Is it spreading out total fixed costs over a larger eventually that doesn't cause diminishing returns? No. Oh wait. I misread that answer, I think, a little bit. Let me try that again. Spreading out total fixed costs over... Yes, that does make sense. The reason it's going downward is because we're spreading out our fixed costs more and more over a larger output. But we eventually have diminishing returns. That's what drives that marginal cost up. Yes, actually, I do kind of like that answer. Let's double check it with the rest of these. Increasing total fixed costs. We don't have... No. Fixed costs are fixed. They don't increase. Increasing average variable costs and decreasing returns. Well, that does explain the top part of it. Except variable costs initially are declining too, so that doesn't really explain it. Decreasing average variable costs. Well, yeah, that's part of it. And no, we don't have increasing returns. So no, I do like B the best there. Number 52. Assume that a firm is maximizing short-run profits and that price is greater than average variable cost. Which of the following must be true at the firm's level of output? Assume that a firm is maximizing short-run profits and that price is greater than average variable cost. Let me draw that. So that's marginal cost. That's average total cost. Average variable cost. And let's see. That price is greater than average variable cost. So the price is somewhere up above there. So which of the following must be true? Marginal revenue is equal to average total cost. If the price of the marginal revenue I'm getting is above average variable cost, no, it doesn't have to be equal to average total cost. It could be, but it's not necessarily. Marginal revenue is greater than total variable cost. No. No, total variable cost would be adding up all of the average variable costs, and that would most likely be much higher than marginal revenue. Anyway, marginal revenue is equal to price, which is greater than average total cost. Not necessarily, is it? Let me think about that. Marginal revenue is equal to price. Yeah, okay, that makes sense, right? The amount that I get for the next one is equal to price. Is it greater than average total cost? Not necessarily. We could be at that point right there, couldn't we? Which would be in between, and it would be at a economic. We would be at a economic loss, but not at the shutdown position. So no, I don't like C. Marginal revenue is equal to marginal cost. Yeah, we pretty much always produce at that point, don't we? Marginal revenue equal to marginal cost. And if they're maximizing short-run profits, there we go. That's the answer to that. Of course they are maximizing at marginal revenue equals to marginal cost. And price is equal to average total cost, not necessarily. Okay, whew, that one took longer than it should have. Always look for that marginal revenue equal. That is the profit maximizing point. Number 53, a single price monopolist. Marginal revenue is, this is kind of important. By a single price monopolist, meaning not one that is doing price discrimination, I'm assuming. That's what they mean by that. So the marginal revenue, let me draw them out a second here. Average total cost, marginal cost. Sorry about the really sloppy graphs. But then they face a demand curve and a marginal revenue curve, and they're going to produce at this point here, which means the price they're going to sell is up here, and their cost is there, and now they have a lovely little profit. Okay, beautiful. So single price monopolists revenue, marginal revenue is equal to its price. No, marginal revenue is going to be lower than its price. B. Wow, that was actually really easy there. Okay, it's not equal to, it's not less than, it almost has to be one of those three, doesn't it? If it's equal to, less than, or greater than, one of those three has to be right, I would think. Alright, number 54. When the marginal product exceeds average product, which of the following must be true? Well, marginal product meaning how much more I get, the marginal being the next one, so the marginal product being like how much I get for one more worker. If the additional amount that I get is greater than what the current average is, then that is going to definitely pull the average up, right? If the marginal product, if I've got like 5 workers and the average that they produce is 5 apiece, that'd be 25 in total, and if the next worker gets me, I don't know, 10 more, let's go 11 more. Wow, let's use those numbers here. So with quantity of workers, the Oh, I can't even write that. Ugh. Let's write my average. So with 5 workers, I got 25 total products. With 6 workers, let's say I got 36. Well, that would mean that the marginal product of that was 11. So the marginal product of that 11th worker was a lot greater than the average product, because I should put another column there, average product. At this point the average was 5, and here the average is 6, and it's because that marginal one is pulling that average up. Okay, I hope that example made sense. But bottom line, if the marginal is above the average, it means it's going to pull those averages up. Whew. Number 55. Which of the following is true if a monopolist's marginal revenue is negative at the current level of output? Ooh, I know this one. We actually talked about this in class today. We've got demand looking like this. That means the marginal revenue curve looks like this. At this point right here, we have unit elastic. Every point below that, we have inelastic demand, and any point above this, we have elastic. And the reason we know that is because from this point, all of these points, if I lower my price, my total revenue must be going up because my marginal revenue is positive. So lowering my price, I must be getting a larger number of customers to come in to more than compensate that drop in price. So the percent change in quantity is greater than the percent change in price. That's elastic demand. At this point right here, if I lower my price, if I change my price, I'm going to have an equal change in my quantity, so I don't get any additional revenue, and my marginal revenue is constant. And at this part of the graph, it's inelastic demand, because if I lower my price, I'm getting not enough additional quantity, so a 10% increase in price is getting me less than 10% increase in 10% decrease in price is getting me less than a 10% increase in quantity, and so I'm losing revenue. That is inelastic demand. So if the marginal revenue is negative, demand for the product must be inelastic. C. 55C. Yes. 56. A merger of 2 firms may increase economic efficiency by... So how would 2 firms merging increase efficiency? Well, it wouldn't be the case if they became an oligopoly or became a monopoly. But perhaps they could have some economies of scale, which would allow them to lower their prices, because now they have more production capacity. I like that. Number 57. The graph above illustrates the labor market for teenage workers. Oh, that's like you guys. The current minimum wage for all workers is W1. If Congress introduces a sub-minimum wage, W2, that applies only to teenagers, what is the most likely effect on teenage employment? Well, right here, the quantity of labor demanded at W2 is greater than the quantity demanded at W1. So teenage employment will increase because firms will want to hire more workers at W2 than W1. Yeah, I like that. Firms will hire more teenagers if they can hire them at a cheaper wage rate. I don't think I even need to read the rest of them. Feel free to read the rest of them on your own. Last 3. Marginal revenue product is defined as change in income that occurs when individual work additional hours. No, it's not change in income. Change in total revenue Yeah, so that occurs when one additional unit of the good is produced. No, it's when the change in total revenue that occurs when one additional unit of input is employed. Yes. So if I hire one more worker or if I buy one more machine, that's what we mean by marginal revenue product. The additional revenue that we get from hiring somebody else. Yes. Number 59. An increase in the marginal social benefit. Oh, let me go back to that one, 58, just a second, and just say that, marginal revenue product, that really is that thing that we talked about with the labor market. In a perfectly competitive labor market, a firm is just a wage taker. So the supply of labor, which is really the marginal factor cost, is constant there. And then the demand for labor is, well, how much profit can I get? It's the marginal revenue from hiring one more person. So the demand for labor equals that marginal revenue product. So keep that in mind. And again, we don't always draw the first part of the graph. In fact, normally all we draw is the downward part of that. Alright, 59. An increase in the marginal social benefit of consuming a public good should result in if we have a increase in the marginal social benefit of consuming a public good, would that cause us to decrease the in public production of the good? No, because it doesn't have anything to do, it wouldn't decrease the production of the good. It would increase the optimal quantity of the good. Ideally, we would have even more of it. In reality, we probably wouldn't have enough of it. Think of a private market where we have demand and supply. Well, if it's a public good, then the is marginal cost and demand is marginal benefit. If we had an increase in the social marginal benefit, this would be like the demand plus the social benefit. I should really call the marginal social benefit perhaps there. So that would be the optimal amount that we would want, but this would be the amount that would actually get produced. And of course, if we had an increase in that, that would be increasing the optimal quantity even more. So now to decrease, no, no, and no. Last problem. An industry will produce more than the socially efficient level of output under which of the following conditions? Well, the only time that would happen was kind of like the problem we saw earlier. We have demand and supply for a good. The only way that we would be producing too much, we call that marginal cost, and this marginal benefit. The only way we're really producing too much is if we had a situation where the full cost wasn't recognized by the person who was producing it. So for instance, a factory that's producing and causing a lot of pollution, they might not be paying for the pollution, so the pollution, one of the costs, isn't actually weighed into their decision-making problem. So it's when we actually have this additional cost that isn't borne by the seller, and the definition of that is a negative externality there. So I'm going to go with B. I think we did alright on this test. You can, of course, double check all the answers. If you go to the website, I think we got them all right. I tried to check my answers as I was going through them, but I hope this helps you as you kind of try to think through some of these problems. So enjoy yourself on the AP. Have a good night.